Good morning, Mata Nui! Welcome back to another episode of the Barraki Talk Show. We're your hosts, the Mielik brothers,
Jacob, Samuel,
Thomas, and we're glad you're joining us today as we talk our way through the weird and wondrous world of Bionicle. But first, coming up on the Barraki Talk Show.
Mr. Clean is the Balrog's god.
clean. It must be clean.
Well, it'd be like if you gave a bunch of crusaders and you turned them into atheists, and then you paid them money to fight for your team on the crusade.
What?
Yeah. Just imagining, like, if Nuju was taking the place of, like, Obi-Wan in New Hope. Like, Luke finds him, and he just whistles a bunch of bird stuff, doesn't give him the lightsaber, and then pushes him out to the sand people. Wow. He'd be like, get wrecked, Luke. Like, I was trying to figure out, I'm like, what other stone characters were there differentiated from Earth? And everything I looked up was like, Bionicle. I'm like, yeah, I know it's in Bionicle. That's why I'm asking. All that and more coming up on the Barraki Talk Show. Ooh, we should introduce our special guest, Clayton Newton Jayton.
Hello, everybody. Happy to be on this podcast for the first time ever.
Yep. He's related to Newton Jayton Clayton.
I've never met that man before in my life.
I meant like ontologically, not familially.
Oh yeah, no, that's true.
Well, you could also be familially related to him and have never met him.
Also a possibility.
Also a good point. Some of my family members I'd wish I'd never met.
Anybody you would like to
Jacob.
name by...
And conveniently, Jacob's not here right now.
That's the only reason I agreed to be on the show.
Yeah. So, to start off today's episode, now that we've ended the Mata Nui Island saga, I thought we'd recap it a little bit, and then we'd kind of do a tier list analysis of the archetypes of the characters in it, just as a fun thing to do. For fun. No other reason.
Only for fun. If you're not here for fun, get out.
Yeah. Okay, so, get into the recap. Everyone ready?
Mm-hmm.
Buckle your seatbelts, boyos. We're about to recap what we've all just learned over the past, it's like 7 episodes. Maybe 9. Who knows? At this point, it could be any number.
At this point, let's just throw the number into energized protodermis and see what comes out.
Yeah. Just gets destroyed and we have no episodes now.
Your account has been deleted.
Okay. So, in the Island of Mata Nui, which has been under attack by the evil Makuta for 1,000 years to the dot, which is pretty impressive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The 6 Matoran villagers find that 6 canisters containing Toa washed up on their shores, all conveniently in their respective elements.
Oh, that is nice, yeah.
Yeah. So like Tahu was in Tawahi and so on and so forth. When all those canisters arrive, the Toa meet the villagers and the Turaga. The Turaga are the wise elders that rule over the Koros with an iron fist. Nuju doesn't really rule over anything. He's just kind of a loser. Sorry, I was editing the Turaga episode earlier, and we're just bagging on Nuju. I'm like, we didn't bag on him enough. I hate Nuju.
Is that why you wanted to record this episode? Just for another excuse?
Thomas was like, we want to tie rocks to his ankles and throw him into the deep end. That's what this episode is for.
It's a very specific punishment.
We're going to put him in the bottom of the tier list of other archetype leaders.
Well, I don't know if he's a total stereotype, though, because, I don't know of any other mentor character that is just so blatantly useless and annoying and self-aggrandizing.
Yeah.
That gives no valuable information. He's not a mentor character because he doesn't teach anyone anything.
Yeah.
He's just a character. He's like the grumpy old man more than he is a mentor.
He's like, I don't know. He's so frustrating. He's like the grumpy old man who probably went to MIT, worked for NASA, helped develop the first rockets, and then decides he won't tell anybody anything about it.
Yeah.
He's just gatekeeping.
Just gatekeeping until you die to take the secrets with you.
Yeah.
Why?
Pretty much.
Even worse, he speaks like a bird.
Anyway, so they meet the villagers in Turaga and they grow closer and they want to protect the villages that are under attack by the corrupted Rahi of Makuta. So, they're also told to help protect the island and defeat Makuta, they need to collect other masks around the island so that they can have the necessary power and versatility to overcome all obstacles. So, in their adventures to collect these masks, the Toa team up with each other, usually in pairs, to help accomplish what neither could do alone, right? It's like Kopaka and Pohatu have the most famous pairing, where Kopaka's like, grr, I don't want to be with anyone, I'm such a loner. Pohatu's like, I'm just the best ever, let's be friends. And then he saves Kopaka's life, Kopaka saves his life, and now they're the best of buds. They're not the best of buds, they're pretty good buds.
The best of Kopaka's buds by far, though.
For sure. I think he's his only friend, honestly.
That and the loneliness of the ice, that's his other major friend.
So eventually they collect all the masks, and they're like, okay, now we're a team. We've learned to work together. And so to show this, they literally unite into two separate beings called Toa Kaita, and they go down into Makuta's lair to fight him. So the Kaita are way more powerful than normal Toa. Like, a Kaita is more powerful than 3 Toa would be. So they go down into Makuta's lair, they fight shadow versions of themselves, they beat the Manus crabs, and then they go and beat up Makuta himself. Makuta isn't permanently beaten, he's just like, oh, I let you win for reasons, trust me, bro. And so when he's fleeing away, he activates a sonic signal that awakens all the Borak underneath the island.
Can you remind me really quickly, like, how did the Toa get down into Mangaya? Like, and how did they know to go after Makuta at that point? I don't remember how that happened.
Once they collected all the masks and had the golden mask.
Yeah, like, I understand that's when they go do it, but what sets it off? What's like, oh, why are we going to, like, how do they know where Makuta is, and why do they decide to then go after him?
I believe once they have all of the masks, the Turaga are like, okay, now we'll tell you where the entrance to Mangaya is.
So it's most likely because of the Turaga.
Yes. I'll double check and edit something in if it's not. Editor Thomas here to correct past Thomas, what an idiot he was. The Toa all had a vision that they needed to go to Kinanui, and when they did, they put all of the masks they'd collected into little niches in the stone, which then merged into the golden masks. When they put those golden masks back on, an entrance into Makuta's lair opened up and they just went through it. They didn't consult the Turaga at all.
I was just going to ask, when they fight the Shadow Toa, is that like Shadow Toa Kaita? Or Shadow Toa? Like,
I got ahead of myself a little bit. They go in as separate Toa, they fight the Shadow Toa, then they merge into Kaita.
Got it, okay.
That would have been cool, though. Shadow Toa Kaita.
Because Toa Kaita just looks so cool.
Yeah. Conceptually, reading about it, I would have loved it.
It's so funny because I feel like we have looked at, I think, a few of Kaita mocks, maybe not on the podcast, but we have seen some around, and it seems like there should be such a cool way to present them. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why do we not have like a definitive look of them though? Like, someone really should push hard to be like, this is the canon look, other than the physical constraints of their original sets. This is how they look now, like with all the pieces and all the ability we have to build the actual, or even draw it, like even if it's just a drawn image, to say this is the Kaita, because it's like, I feel like it could be so cool, and yet all of them are so ugly.
Yeah, they look like, what is that, the guy in Greek mythology with like the 3 bodies who's like the rancher?
What is his name?
I don't remember.
Yeah, they look like him basically.
Yeah, or it's just like, you are not even resembling a humanoid. But yeah, they're definitely whack. So like a recanonization contest would actually be cool. So after that, the Borak obviously swoop in, start destroying everything. The Toa are like, what are we gonna do? And the Turaga are like, we knew about this threat, and what you need to do is collect 20 billion krana. Like, why didn't you tell them about this before?
A warning would have been nice.
Yeah, exactly. So then as the Borak are rampaging, destroying everything, they're having to take out Borak and collect the krana. And once they have one of each type of krana, they go into a special cave. It was either I think it was in Powai or Tawahi. and they put it into little alcoves that are all shaped like the specific Krana, and that's what lowers them down into the Barraki nest proper. So they go through the Barraki nest, right? They have all the illusions and magic, and they have to stealth by a bunch of Barraki until they finally come into the antechamber to the Barrog's main, living room, I suppose. And that's where they put on the Exotoa armor. So like, oh yeah, we're gonna go beat them up now. So they're fighting the Barrog with the Exotoa armor, but they're like, kind of a trade-off because we don't have our elemental powers in their armor. So they take off the armor, they all shoot their elemental powers at Kadak and Gadak, seals them in a Toa seal of solid protodermis. All the Barraki stop, revert to being purely mechanical creatures. And then they get dropped into tubes of energized protodermis.
Really quickly before we go too much further.
Yeah.
When the Toa use the Krana to get into the hive or the, what do you call it? The nest. That's the word. Before they go into the nest, how do the Barraki ever return to the nests? Or are they just, once they're out? Because I'm just wondering, if you need to use Krana to open the door to the nest, do the Barraki have to take their own Krana out to open the door, or do the Barraki Va open it, or do the Barraki just not use that door at all, and that just is convenient for the Toa?
So the nests are like all connected under Mata Nui, and they have a ton of different exit points in the different Wahis and stuff. This is like the main central location of the main nest.
Yeah.
So no, you don't need the Krana to get back into it, I suppose. It's kind of more a plot device than it is a thought-out world-building element.
Because it feels like if they can get out anywhere, that there would be all these tunnels or something that don't have closed-off entrances or closed-off exits or entrances, right? Because then the Toa could just find any hole that the Barraki came out of and just walk in. Mm-hmm. But if they're actually coming out, and then it closes behind them, and then to get back in, they actually have to do something like the Toa do. That kind of makes sense.
I believe they could have gone in from anywhere. The problem was they're super enclosed tunnels, so they would have been taken out by Barraki.
Yeah.
This is like a direct drop.
Fish in a barrel.
Yeah, into the closest they could get.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I described the episode as the destructive crusade of the Barraki. So, does that make the Balrogs like King Richard the Lionheart?
It's not really a crusade, though. It's more like a 9 to 5.
Well, but they don't stop. They just keep going.
Good point. It's a 24/7.
It's a 24/7.
It's not religious, though. I don't think they don't have a god. They're atheists.
I don't think a crusade has to strictly be religious.
I think by definition it has to be. I think it's a holy war.
Let's see. You can move on.
Mr. Clean is the Balrog's god.
Clean. It must be clean.
Oh, now I'm just imagining him with his head as the Barraki face shield.
A vigorous campaign for political, social, or religious change.
But it's not any of those. They just do it because they want to.
I'm saying that it's a campaign, right? So it's like, it can, even though, yes, it's not political, social, or religious in this case, it is like they are on a mission. They are trying to change something, right? They're trying to destroy the landscape.
You can just say it's a normal war. Those are just normal war objectives.
I don't feel like normal war objectives are to destroy every piece of matter on the surface of the country you're attacking.
Have you heard of total annihilation?
That's not a normal war objective.
It can be a war objective.
Yeah, okay, that's the difference.
Just saying. I think it just follow a normal military campaign.
Fine. You don't like
the word crusade. Looks good on the thumbnail. Get all the Catholics.
Crusade?
That's what we're crusading. So, after they beat the Barrog, they go down into conveniently placed tubes of energized protodermis, and they're transformed into the Takutanuva.
Ooh.
Yes. And funny thing about the Takutanuva.
Sorry, really quickly. Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines a crusade as a remedial enterprise undertaken with zeal and enthusiasm.
What the heck is remedial in this sense?
Remedial would be to return the island to the state it's supposed to be according to the Barraki.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I feel like that definitely falls into the category
you can call
of a
anything
crusade.
a crusade then.
Yeah, if you do it with zeal, passion, and enthusiasm, it could be a crusade.
But they're not really passionate about it, I guess. It's like they're being driven rather than like being self-motivated. Because like it must be cleansed, like it's being imposed upon them, like it must be cleansed. Not I want to cleanse it, right?
I feel like you could read it either way. Like, because
I read it the correct way.
also aren't resistant to it that we see. They're not like, oh, it must be cleansed, but I refuse to cleanse it. It's like, oh, it must be cleansed, and yeah, that sounds good.
I mean, the
Let's
only two like sentient people in the Borok swarms are the Balrog, right? So they're the only ones we can really go off of. And they say it must be cleansed.
So then the Balrog are the one on the crusade, and the Borok are just their minions. They're soldiers.
No, because I'd say the same desires and outside external need to cleanse is still on the Balrog, but they have a little more cognition. So I don't know. Maybe the Borok are the avenging sword of the Balrog across the landscape of Mata Nui.
Yeah, can't believe this massive tangent was on the use for the word crusade.
Yeah.
To describe the Balrog swarm.
Well, if we're not having fun with words, what's even the point with life?
Good point. You could
That's
have
right.
fun with Bionicles.
Let's stop the episode right here. Let's get out the bonkles.
All right, we're gonna go build. Have fun, guys. See ya.
Okay, we're back in the next day.
It's been 24 hours, and after our Bionicle building crusade. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I didn't have much zeal.
I was pressured by external forces. Anyway, so the Toa are transformed into the more powerful Toa Nuva, and I forgot to mention this, or maybe Jacob did mention this, since the Toa didn't have the original name of Toa Mata, fans actually were putting in names for them, and one of the more popular ones was the Toa Olda and the Toa Nuva.
So when I pointed out that they were called the Toa Nuva, and I always thought that was funny, like, that was not an original thought, apparently.
All the
Everybody
kids
else was
2002
like,
were on to you.
That's funny.
I was like, that's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, just to clarify, though, they were just called Toa. Yeah. So, like, Jacob does say that. But,
yes,
like,
but they were later, the official canon name is now Toa Mata.
Yes, but at the time of release,
correct.
It was not. Which is actually another good kind of indication, because we talked about it in... Shoot, it's hard recording these out of order, because we talk about it in the Metru episode, how it doesn't seem like they actually maybe had all of that planned. Like, they had elements of the story plan that they then carried out through the whole Bionicle series. But we had talked about, like, it didn't seem like Metru was actually planned until the end of the Nuva, when they were like, cool, let's do another series. I feel like that kind of bolsters the argument that they weren't going to do the Metru originally, because they were just the Toa and the Toa Nuva, not the Toa Mata and Toa Nuva. Mm-hmm. And so they weren't even trying to come up with other Toa team names.
Yeah.
They were just like, these are the Toa, these are the Toa Nuva, that's it. Mm-hmm. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm not blaming them for it, obviously. Jacob is, but
no, I was just saying it is interesting that it's like that could be used as evidence for the fact that they were not going to actually do anything past the Nuva, which is either you or Jacob pointed it out, or someone pointed it out.
I think we both did, yeah. Because I think they're either planning only up to 2002 or 2003.
Yeah, that's why. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, once the Balrog are defeated, the Toa lost their golden mask as they'd been transformed into their iconic Nuva masks, and there were a bunch of new Nuva masks that they had to go and collect from dangerous places or whatever.
They called them Nuva masks.
Exactly. But as they're going to show off their new powers and whatever, their Nuva symbols get stolen, which take all their elemental powers away with them by the Borok Call, who are mutated Borok that are super duper uber powerful and have minds of their own. And since they have minds of their own, they don't want it to be cleansed. So just saying. External forces is a working hypothesis. Okay.
So what do the Barakal want?
So the Barakal, they want to free the Balrog queens, and they know the Toa Nuva are a massive threat to them, so that's one reason they steal the symbols, and the second is because they need the symbols to open the Nuva Cube, which is a floating cube outside of the Balrog's prison.
really quickly, the Barraki are not telepathically communicating with the Barraki at this point. So does that mean that the Barraki are doing this of their own initiative, or are they also being forced by external forces?
Own initiative.
Okay. So the Barraki could go on a crusade.
Yes. But they don't do it out of zeal or malice or like purpose. They just do it out of malice, I think. I think they just like to cause harm and pain.
I feel like releasing the Barraki wouldn't help them do that.
No, it's like they're getting subcontracted.
Oh, so they were just causing pain,
It'd be like
and then someone was like,
mercenaries
hey,
on
I
a
like
crusade.
what you're doing. Like, come join us.
Well, it'd be like if you gave a bunch of crusaders and you turned them into atheists, and then you paid them money to fight for your team on the crusade.
What?
Yeah, because they were normal Barraki until they were mutated into the Barraki, gaining free will and intelligence.
So you're
And-
saying atheists
I was
have more
just gonna
free
say
will and
maybe a bad
intelligence than...
comparison.
No, it was just a, you know what I mean. Because I was to illustrate the point, they're not doing it with the fervor or zeal.
No,
They're just
I
doing it for
understand.
the money, or in this case, for the kicks, I suppose.
Thomas just dismantled
Anyway.
Christianity and like
Checkmate
trees
Christians. Anyway, the crusade metaphor is so tortured, it's completely useless. Moving back onto the Barraki. So now the Toa, without their elemental powers, have to go around the island finding the masks and fending off the Barraki. And when I say fending off, I mean getting annihilated by them every time they meet. Just total. Only Onua and Pohatu managed to score any major victory, and then the only other person to do so is Jalar. So, based Jalar.
Who's not even a Toa.
Yep. And he will never be seen again. So eventually the Barraki find out where the Barraki are, and they all head over to it, and it's just in the main chamber where the Toa sealed them before. The Toa follow them. The Barraki take out the Exo-Toa armor that was autonomously trying to guard the Barraki prison, and the Toa are like, dang it, we can't stop them at all. Right, what are we gonna do? They're so close to putting the Nuva symbols into the Nuva cube, which will free the Barraki. And Tahu is like, wait, Turaga Vakama gave me the Great Mask of Time, which controls all time in the entire universe. I'll use that to slow them down. And so he does. And they're like, okay, now that they're slowed down, we need a plan, right? And they can't take him out physically because, like the Barraki, they're immune when they're like next to each other, about to complete their goal. And so Golly's like, what if we prey upon their free will and greed and malice and just feed them all our elemental power? So that's what they do. And all the Barraki are like, whoa, I feel so powerful, man. This is crazy. Like, they're like inches away from putting the Nuva symbols into the Nuva cube. And they pull them away. And they're like, nah, with this, we can do whatever the heck we want ourselves. We're so powerful. And so then their powers go crazy and they all end up killing themselves.
Did Golly just use a satanic practice?
What?
She basically convinced them to succumb to sin, to use their free will to do something like against what they normally would do, so that they could, like, you know, become greedy and try to get more power for themselves.
Golly hardened their hearts.
You know what I'm saying, though?
Satan got the atheists.
So in this scenario, it'd be like if the Crusaders sent their atheist mercenaries into a losing battle against Islam. That's what happened. Islam is elemental power in this metaphor.
I was gonna say.
And the Nuva cube is Israel in this metaphor. Because everyone wants it.
So wait, so the atheists discover Islam, and then
No, they don't discover Islam. It's the Islamic fighters who are fighting against the Crusaders.
The atheists who were fighting for the Crusaders, right?
Correct.
So the Catholics, right? Subcontracted by the Catholics, went into Israel because that's where everybody wanted to be all at that point.
Israel, the Nuva cube.
Yeah, Israel, the Nuva
Got
cube. Yeah, right? And then they ran into the Muslim, the Islamic, what'd you say? The Islamic forces. Yeah, Islamic forces there who were also trying to get to the Nuba Cube, Israel, right? And that's when they were defeated, when the Islamic people, the Muslims, somehow convinced them to...
I guess in this case, the mercenaries would be more like the Exotoa armor. Or they just get annihilated without a second thought.
I like how Thomas was like, this metaphor got muddied a long time ago and then instantly goes back to it.
It's not muddy anymore. It's just pure mud. Anyway, back to the recap. Yeah. This is more like a decap. It's getting longer as it goes. So the Barraki are all defeated from blowing themselves up or turning themselves into a black hole or shooting into the stratosphere. And the Toa are like, okay, we'll hide these Nuva symbols where no one can ever find them again and where the story will not have to address them again. And after the Barraki are defeated, all the Matoran on Mata Nui are rebuilt to be bigger and stronger and cooler and so on and so forth. Also, 3 Matoran are renamed in a ceremony. Jala, Huki, and Holly are renamed to Jaller, Huki, and Holly. Just spelled differently. And when that's all done, they're like, we'll have a Kolhi tournament to celebrate. But before the Kolhi tournament happens, that's when Takua stumbles upon the Mask of Light. And he's like, whoa, this is crazy. So he plays the entire Kolhi tournament with the Mask of Light in his backpack. And then at the end of it, it falls out and they're like, oh, it's the Mask of Light, guys! Now, we have to send you on a quest to find the 7th Toa. It's really urgent. And so they do, but they choose Jaller as the herald of the quest because Takua didn't want to take responsibility for it. Like some sort of loser.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Not fair enough.
Loser. Oh, I'm sorry. Loser. So were they expecting to find like a 7th canister somewhere? Or were they?
That's my guess.
Okay.
Because the Mask of Light was pointing light in certain directions, so assuming they just like they found the other 6 Toa just fully formed. So I'm assuming they thought they'd just find the 7th fully formed, just hiding on the island, I suppose. But Makuta is like, I don't want a Toa of light to be found, so he sends out 6 Rakshi, which are like super powerful minions of his, and they go out and they just obliterate Takoro. Just it sinks into lava and is completely destroyed, along with all of Tahu's extra masks and all of Vakama's extra masks.
Dang.
Yeah, which is a massive bummer.
Massive
bummer.
So the Rakshi chase Jaller and Takua around the island as the various Toa try to protect them, so on, so forth. And it's finally revealed when they get to Kinanui that Takua is destined to be the Toa of Light. So he puts on the mask and transforms into Takutanuva, the Toa of Light, who is not a Nuva.
It was me, Takua, the whole time.
The whole time.
I don't
Always
even
has
know
been.
anybody named Hakua.
Anyway, so Takutanuva's super cool, as we discussed in the Mask of Light episode. Clay wasn't there though. He doesn't know.
I don't know that he's that cool.
We also discussed him briefly in the Nuva episode because we talked about how cool he was in that one too.
Yeah, because he
is somehow cooler than Kopaka, the Toa of Ice.
Yes, because light is cold. The cold, harsh light of Takutanuva's coolness. I'm gonna cut that out.
Sure.
When that happens, the Toa-Nuva take out the rest of the Rakshi who are at Kinanui, and Takutanuva's like, as my first act as a Toa, I will disassemble the corpse of my fallen enemies and turn them into a sick vehicle. And so that's when he makes the Asanui, and then he rides all the way down into Mangaya to fight Makuta.
Really quickly,
yes.
While I'm seeing this as a whole picture, in the episode where we talk about Nupru, you're like, he gets 3 colors because he built a vehicle from the bones of his enemies. How come Takutanuva only has 2 colors?
No, but remember, Takua had 3 colors as a Matoran because he was destined to do that.
I guess he does have 3 colors.
Because I remember in that episode, you guys were saying, oh, but Takua has 3 colors and he hasn't done that.
To be fair, though, Takua, there are actually 2 versions of him. One where he is only 2 colors and one where he's 3.
We're using the one where he's 3 colors.
Okay, fine.
For convenience to my argument.
The one that comes in the set from Mask of Light is the one where he only has 2 colors.
Yeah.
Interestingly.
Loves to throw you off. The first one was subtle foreshadowing. This one was just a red herring.
Fair enough.
They tricked you,
And
Samuel.
then when he became Takutanuva, he can change his color at will because he can change the spectrum of light. So he doesn't want to appear too ostentatious. He's very humble.
So he chooses white.
White and gold,
White
baby.
and gold,
White
the colors
gold.
of humility. Yes. He's very considerate of others. So, also in the meantime, the Turaga are like, okay, pack it up, everybody. We're leaving permanently right now. No, we gave you no warning before this. We gotta move now. And all the Matoran are just like, okay. So they all head up to Mangaya as well. And I don't know why they go along with that either.
I was gonna ask about Makuta's strategy. Like, why didn't he release the Borok swarms before the Toa arrived?
Because he didn't want to kill the Matoran.
Okay, so
He just wants to dominate and control the Matoran and make them worship him.
okay.
He doesn't control the Borok, so when he released them, he knew the Toa were going to defeat them eventually. He just wanted to save time for himself so he could gather his energy and create the Rakshi.
That
got it.
actually
Because that was
makes
my
sense.
follow-up question: is why didn't he lead with the Rakshi?
When what?
Like, why
That was my
didn't he
follow-up
lead
question,
with
but you
them?
answered it. Like,
Yeah.
if he would have sent the Rakshi after the Toa Mata, it would have been like game over.
Yeah,
But-
they just would have been annihilated.
Yeah.
But
that
no
makes
one has
sense.
more faith in the Toa than Makuta. He's like, they'll beat anything. But every time he tries to fight him, he's like, I'm going to crush him easy. And then he gets annihilated and he's like, let me recalculate. Anyway, so Takutanuva goes down to Makuta in his lair. And Makuta's like, I'm going to beat this guy through my clever tactic of saying, hey, let's play Kolhi instead of fighting normally. And so they play Kolhi, but if you get hit with the ball, you pretty much die. The problem is Takua was almost a professional Kolhi player.
Almost is the key word.
He was
though.
also proficient in many other sports, so it's like, I don't know why he chose a sport to fight against Takua. At least it wasn't Hyuki, okay? If it was Hyuki, he would have lost in like 5 seconds flat. But anyway, Takutanuva gets a sick flip move that shoots his light Kolhi ball into Makuta, and Makuta's like, ah, and falls backwards into a pool of energized protodermis. And Takutanuva also goes in the pool of energized protodermis, and they pop out as a merged being called Takutanuva, cleverly naming him. And so, Takutanuva goes out and he lifts up this big old gigantic door at the end of the Mangaya, and that's when all the Turaga and Matoran and Toa come in, and they're like, okay, we have to all go through that door, and when it closes, it will never open again, and we're all cut off from the island forever. And all the Matoran are completely okay with this and head on through. As they do, though, Jalar had died right before Takua became
Bummer.
Huh?
Said bummer.
Yeah, right before Takua became Takutanuva. And so as they're walking through the door, Holly is carrying Jalar's mask. And Takutanuva is like, hold on, that mask needs life, little one. And he just touches it and resurrects the entire body and soul of Jalar on the spot. Yeah.
So, okay.
While holding the massive door like the Minotaur in Narnia.
So, forgive my ignorance when it comes to like how their spirits and stuff work. But did he just like draw Jalar's spirit from the red star, or
No. He just, the way it's said is when you wear a mask, you leave a small imprint of your soul upon it.
Okay.
And so, you know how when people put on masks, like they gain color, like the Nuva masks? That's
Yeah.
kind of what they're kind of implying. So he essentially just extrapolated from the soul imprint into an entirely new body and
It was
soul of
literally
Jalar.
a Horcrux.
Yeah. Kind
Okay.
of like that.
Huh. So then there's Jalar's spirit would also be in the red star. So there's like 2 Jalar spirits right now.
No.
Oh.
Jalar was permanently dead.
Oh,
Somehow.
okay, got it.
I don't know how.
Huh.
It was very strange.
He should have just like resurrected Toa Lecon instead.
Yeah. And the other weird thing is how Greg tries to rationalize this makes it not a Takutanuva power. He simply says it's because Takutanuva had an excess of life force that he was able to do it. So like when they merged, it was like Takutanuva's soul, Makuta's soul, and then like a sprinkle of extra soul energy on top. And that's what he used to give Jalar life again. So anyone who has enough soul energy from merging could theoretically just bring anyone back to life if they had a soul imprint.
Oh, convenient.
Yeah. I'm like, what? And it will never come up
I was
again.
gonna say, is that ever used, ever discussed?
No.
Not even
Greg
as a
was
concept.
just like, I gotta justify this somehow. It's just a complete one-off concept that exists in the world. Don't ask me why. It doesn't make any sense.
That's kind of cool, though.
It is a cool idea, but it's just...
It's not executed in a way that is consistent.
It's not explained well, and it's executed in a very Deus Ex Machina way.
Yeah.
So, for that reasons, I hate it.
Okay, fair enough. So I have a question about, was it Takutanuva?
Mm-hmm.
Whose mind is controlling it? Because all these things seem like just like what Takutanuva would want, and not really Makuta.
Takutanuva is controlling Takutanuva because since he weakened Makuta by like beating him in the fight, and because he's just light's antithesis to darkness, he has control of Takutanuva.
Okay.
However, he was losing control of it, and that's when the door slapped on them and broke Takutanuva apart. Depending on the version, if it's the novel, they were split into two separate beings again, and Takutanuva went on the far side of the door where all the Matoran were, and Makuta's armor was destroyed, and he's just a spirit. Or if you go by the movie version, he straight up dies and only his mask goes through, and then they take his mask, move to a different chamber, and throw it in a resurrection machine that is there, and he gets resurrected. Yeah, in the movie, his mask...
I forgot about that.
Takutanuva's destroyed by the heavy door falling on him. They take his mask, they go up to a room that has the 3 virtues symbol on it. They all hold hands, put his mask in the middle, and then he gets resurrected.
Kumbaya.
Yeah.
Interesting. So they could have done that with Jalar's mask.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I was just like 2 resurrections in the space of like 1 minute and 30 seconds. So that's what happened.
Interesting.
Yes, very interesting. So
I like the splitting of beings better.
that one made more sense because I'm like, good on you, Greg, for making it make more sense.
Yeah.
That's a first.
I'm just surprised he tied a door into this somehow.
Yeah. It was actually just a heavy slab that happened to go up and down conveniently to block off an entrance or exit depending on what side you were standing on.
It's referred to as a portal. No, it's not actually referred to it. It's what
a
Greg in his mind referred to as a portal.
I was going to say, do your viewers know that doors aren't canon? in
Oh,
the
they
Bionicle
do.
universe?
Trust me.
I don't know if we've ever explicitly said it.
No, there's literally the whole mahogany joke.
Oh, yeah. Doors aren't canon. Neither are wheels or romantic love.
Yep.
Strange as that will be in the upcoming movie.
Just you wait.
Yeah. Just you wait. Anyway, so all of the Matoran and Turaga and Toa are on the other side of the door. And they're like, what are we doing here, Turaga? What's going on? And they're like, we're taking you back to your origins, to the city of legends, Mata Nui. And then a light shines and you see an old city of Mata Nui. And that's where that leaves off, and that will head into the next Bionicle wave. You know, all will be explained during that time. So, that's a recap. Any closing thoughts?
They're taking the Matoran to Metrugard.
No, I just think a lot of it works in retrospect, and a lot of it doesn't work. When taken as a whole, right, as like a complete story, it's like
all of Mata Nui.
Yeah, all of Mata Nui. It's like some of it's kind of bizarre. Some of it works better. Some of it's just neutral.
I think it actually all works really well. Largely up until the Mask of Light.
Yeah.
Like the Mask of Light's definitely where it's so sad because it could be such a cool part of the story. Like such a really well executed part of the story, but it's not.
Yeah, I think conceptually
it's very
it fits in fine.
Yeah, no, I'm not like the actual specifics of it. Like the way they like tell the story, the way things happen, it feels really, really clunky. And it's like, but yeah, as a concept, as the stuff they introduce feels fine. I have no problem with it. Like Rakshi, cool, I love them. Takutanuva, cool, love him, right? However, the actual way it's presented is just, it doesn't feel as nice or cohesive as everything that came prior to that. Like the whole Borak storyline, I mean, even the infected Rahi leading into the Borak feels pretty good. Like, it's like, okay, I can see how this is the next step. And so even like with the Rakshi, this feels like the next step. It's just the way it's actually told feels inferior to all of the stuff that came before. Like, really, the stupidest part up to that point is the Nuva cube, because it's kind of like literally never explained. What is it? Why is it there? What are the Nuva symbols? How did the Barraki know about the Nuva cube if they had never seen the Balrogs, right?
Yeah.
Like, they didn't know where the Balrog queens were. So how did they know to get the Nuva symbols? I don't know. That's the part that
They were hired by the Catholic Church.
That's the part that feels the weirdest, like, just as far as a story element goes up to that point. And it's like, but I can buy it because the rest of it's really good. And then you have just all these weird elements in, sorry, not necessarily weird elements, just plot devices or just really convenient things that happen, right? A lot of convenient things happen in the Mask of Light storyline, and it leads to a lot of questions.
Yeah, and it's especially noticeable because, like, the first part of the story, like, Corrupted Rahi and Barraki is really well executed. Like, it's just
that's what
a joy
I mean.
to read.
It's like,
yeah.
it's good, it's solid, it's well executed, and everything like that we see later is not.
Yeah. What do you think, Chloe?
I would tend to agree with that assessment.
You tend to?
I tend to. Yeah.
What if, on the off chance you don't?
Well, I mean, kind of the specific little things you guys brought up about the story, like, yeah, the Nuva cube didn't really make sense. I always just kind of find it weird that's like, oh, as soon as they became like Takutanuva, all these other masks just like appear for them to find. It's like, how does that work?
And then the Turaga also know about the other masks?
Seem to know like selectively know random stuff. But like, they can be really stupid, but then they can also just know things. It's like, how does anyone know that?
Yeah.
But I agree that overall, I think I think prior to the Mask of Light, which I still like the Mask of Light, but prior to that, the story is a lot more like cohesive and kind of more just like charming. I feel like.
Yeah.
I think once, and we'll see this later as we get into the other movies, but once they get around the other movies, the story kind of starts having more serious problems. And I think it is from the movie. Like, it's directly related to like how the stories were written for the movies and the fact that they chose to make the movies canon.
Yeah.
I think really is where you just get a whole bunch of issues.
Yeah, because the movie teams were separate from the writing teams, but both were advised by the story team. Right. So story team is who comes up with concepts and whatever. This is like Faber and whatnot, right? And then the movie team just works on the movie and the story of the movie, and they give general updates to the writing team. These are the people that write the books and the comics and so on, right? Like what Greg does most of the time. And so having the two teams be disconnected, I think, is what caused a lot of issues.
And it just is unfortunate that it shows so obviously.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, and I feel like to some extent, the movies almost like ruin my perception of some of the characters. Like, one of the reasons I like the Balrog so much is because I only know of them in like their set and comic form, you know? Whereas like, not that I'm a huge fan of the Takutanuva sets, as a previous episode that my cousin was on demonstrated.
Wait, I thought you weren't familiarly related.
Well, I just found out I was. I went on Ancestry DNA. No, but like, just, I don't like the look of the movies at all. Or like, just, so now whenever I think of like the Mask of Life story and all that stuff, it's like, that's what I have in my mind. And it kind of like,
It taints it.
It taints
almost.
it for me, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that, yeah. Because I definitely like reading the novelized versions of the stories more than I like watching the movies.
Yeah, for sure. Imagine what Takutanuva would have been like without the movie. Like, imagine how cool he would be if he only existed as a set and in comic or book form.
Well, and his promo trailers make him look sick, too.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, speaking of what was,
Oh, yeah.
we
Yeah.
move on
Nice segue.
to the second part of this episode. We caught you now. You thought it was just a recap, but no.
You thought we were almost done, didn't
Yeah, you fools. We can't have anything less than 2 hours. We'll be going over how specific characters fit in kind of an archetype category, and then we'll put them in an internet-friendly tier list to see how they stack up against each other.
Internet-friendly tier list.
So, for the starter one, which I think gives a good example, we'll be looking at Makuta specifically as the Dark Lord archetype, right? So other members of this archetype include like Sauron, Megatron, Voldemort, Palpatine, where they're just overwhelming pure evil presences that seek to conquer and destroy for their own malicious gain.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, at that point, I think Makuta fits it really well. Because, like, a lot of Dark Lords are spirits trapped in mortal armor. Think of, like, Sauron, where he's literally a spirit who can manifest armor and whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So when they're defeated, they're not truly defeated because they can slink away and start up trouble again, right? He's purely evil. There's no redemption about Makuta. He just is purely selfish and wants to dominate and kill and destroy and so on and so forth. He wants to dominate all life, which is an exact quote in the Lord of the Rings movies, right?
Yeah, cruelty, malice, and will to dominate all life.
Exactly. And he sends out his minions and has other soft forms of power that he uses to coerce and control those, right? So, like, he has the Rakshi, who are, like, his direct minions, and then he corrupts mass to make the Rahi his direct minions, and then he has abilities and know-how about the Island of Mata Nui, like the Barraki, which are softer forms of control under him, right? Then he has the ability to influence and persuade people by talking to them directly, like he does with Takua and Mask of Light, and he talks with Akmu and corrupts him, so those are even softer forms of control, which I think fit really well in the Dark Lord archetype, because it makes them feel like an overwhelming presence, like they could be anywhere, they're always exerting their power, trying to get you from any possible avenue. So, he also comes back from defeat and is extremely manipulative and whatever, and he can only be defeated by heroic intervention. Like, it's pretty clear in a war of attrition, Makuta is going to eventually overwhelm and beat the Matoran. So, for all those reasons, I think he is just a great archetypal example of the Dark Lord. What do you guys think?
I would agree with you. I do think that he, I don't know what it is about Makuta. Like, yes, as an archetype, he falls well. Like, he works well, in the Dark Lord archetype. He does have a lot of similarities to, like, Sauron, who is probably one of the most quintessential Dark Lords. We love Sauron. Well, okay, we don't necessarily love Sauron, but we love Lord of the Rings and the way it's written. So Sauron is a very good example of a Dark Lord.
Great character, not a great person.
Yes, exactly. Like Zangief, except the other way around.
I don't know enough about Zangief to really comment.
I was just thinking of the line where he's
yeah.
like, I may be bad guy, but
That
doesn't
does
mean
not
I'm
mean
a
I'm
bad
bad
guy.
guy.
See, Sauron's the other way around, where it's like he is a bad guy, you know?
And he's a bad guy.
True, exactly. So he's not exactly the opposite. Anyway, but the thing that makes even though, yeah, he fits all the roles of a Dark Lord, something that I don't particularly like about Makuta is that he doesn't feel particularly terrifying to me. And this may just be the ability to look at the whole story and know where it goes. So, like, I understand where Makuta's going to end up. And so I don't feel like he's as much of a threat, but even in just his general actions, he doesn't feel like as much of a threat as I think of a traditional Dark Lord. Like, when I'm talking about Palpatine, for example, like Palpatine, like you said, he's everywhere, right? Like a good Dark Lord kind of can manipulate everything to his advantage, and so that way you never know where he's going to attack you from. And I feel like Palpatine's a good example of that as well, where he's corrupting people, he's using people, he's turning people against each other, he's using the force as well, like within his grasp to like to achieve this underlying fear, right? Like Tarkin says it so well, fear will keep them in line, right? And it's like, that is what Palpatine's using. And I feel like Makuta does that really well, like the fear tactic on the Matoran only. I don't feel like he ever has this like strong hold over the Toa. And I don't like that. It is very frustrating because you do always feel like the Toa are going to win, and it just, I don't know. It's
like the Toa when they're like, okay, yeah, we know where he is, let's go get him, and then they just beat him up.
Yeah, and they
right?
just, like, that's exactly what they do. They march in and just pummel him. Yeah. And it's just kind of like, you don't get that feeling from Sauron. You don't get this feeling that they could just waltz in and beat up Sauron.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
Exactly. So it's like Sauron's terrifying, and his forces are terrifying. The Nazgul are terrifying, right? And so when you're scared for the hobbits, you are scared for the hobbits, right? Like, you actually feel that, like, they're in real danger, and they are the heroes of the story, right? But when the Toa are in that situation, it doesn't feel like, oh, they're in serious danger. It just feels like Makuta's this kind of joke, almost like a Dr. Doofenshmirtz villain, right? Where it's like, he can be a threat, but ultimately he's going to be defeated. And even in his threats, he's not super threatening to the heroes.
Yeah, because he never gets a clean win
Yeah.
against them, especially not through his own physical might or whatever. Like, if Megatron shows up next to the Autobots, you're like, holy cow, they're toast, right? If Voldemort shows up next to, like, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, you're like, oh, you better run, right? But if Makuta shows up next to the Toa, it's like, he's gonna get annihilated, hands down. So, yeah, I can definitely see that. That brings us to the tier list part, though. So, for S tier, we have Supreme Fulfillment, which is like, it should be held as an example of what the archetype can be, right? Sauron style, whatever. Then for A tier, we have Adequately Fulfilled. It's like, I can see them fitting well within that archetype, and they make the story better by being there and being part of this archetype, but they're not definitive. Then there's Barely Fulfilled, where it's like, yeah, I guess they fit in the archetype, they're just not great at it. Then you have Close to Stereotype, where it's like, they have a few things that set them apart from just being total, predictable, cliche, whatever. Then you have Stereotype, which is just a stereotype, the dumb jock, you know, the ditzy blonde, stuff like that. So, where do we think Makuta falls on this tier list?
I would put him in Adequately Fulfilled. Only because of the reasons I said. Like, he does fit that, like what we discussed, what makes a Dark Lord. I think it's the extremely powerful and manipulation category, more of the extremely powerful part that, like, I feel like he lacks in the face of the heroes, not in context of the rest of the universe, only against the Toa.
And since the story only follows the heroes, we don't get that sense of menace like you do in the lore of pre the Toa arriving.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can see that. What do you think, Clay?
I'd agree with that. Yeah, he squinted at me.
I want it to be S tier.
Okay.
I think he's supreme film. I think he should be held up as an example
Slap him down,
of
Clay.
Dark
Tell
Lord.
him no.
So I was actually going to say the reason I didn't know if I'd have to argue from being higher up. I was expecting you guys to rank him lower than Adequately.
Oh, really?
But the reasons, well, actually not from you, Thomas. I know you love Makuta.
I love me some Makuta.
Yeah, because the reasons I love Makuta is because he's kind of like Voldemort in that he has all these like schemes, you know, like it's not just like one big, I mean, there's like one big plan sort of, but it's not like just like, oh, this is one big scheme I'm carrying out. It's like a bunch of smaller ones that I think are like pretty clever. And then I also like that he, like, sometimes he will be beaten and he doesn't want to be beaten in some situations, but he'll turn that kind of on the Toa, or he'll let them beat him.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't want to go into specifics, like, for spoiler reasons, but, like, he's actually, like, very clever.
Yeah.
You know, so I like that he uses all these, like, different means, so he almost feels like a more competent Voldemort, in a sense. But, yeah, I agree with Samuel, where, like, he's not particularly scary, and I don't know if it's because he's actually not that cruel, you know? He doesn't seem particularly cruel to me.
No, yeah, he's a like he doesn't really try to cause pain or anything.
Well,
right?
like we talked about, his desire's not to like kill the Matoran, or he just wants them to worship him essentially, right?
Yeah.
And so he's not out there to cause them pain or to make them suffer. He just wants them to worship him, and so
he's more like Loki, where he's like, "Hey, everybody, look at me, not Thor," right? But
Yeah.
he's not gonna like gut you like a fish or something.
Yeah. But
Loki may do that though.
Good.
yeah, that's true.
No, he would turn into a fish and then gut you.
But see, I think I like that Makuta isn't necessarily like the most powerful thing ever. Like that if the Toa can find him and outsmart him, they can beat him.
Mhm.
So I kind of like that he relies on his cleverness and stuff.
Mhm.
I just think that maybe like that makes him a great villain, just maybe not as much a Dark Lord villain in a sense.
Mhm.
But I definitely would say adequately fulfilled.
Yeah, I could see the evasion definitely leans more into like a trickster type
Yeah.
of villain, right?
Mhm.
Which Dark Lords typically aren't tricksters.
They're cunning, but they're not tricksters.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll put him high A tier.
High A
High
tier.
A.
Poor Thomas, who broke his heart.
Thomas is gonna have to add another tier in between A and F.
Just Makuta gets his own tier. We like Makuta.
Makuta tier. Okay, next we have...
Really quickly, did you notice that you have 2 S tiers?
The bottom and top. I thought it was very poetic. Because it's supremely fulfilled and stereotype. I couldn't think of anything else but stereotype for F or D tier or whatever. Something like whatever.
It works.
There's a
Fine.
silent F in front of stereotype. We move on to the Toa as a team. So they kind of fall into the Power Rangers style gimmick where it's like they all share the same powers essentially and like physical capabilities, but they're differentiated by a specific color and like one unique trait, right? So instead of shooting fire, you shoot ice. Instead of shooting ice, you shoot water and your associated color with that, right? But they're not using like different magic systems or anything, right? So for that reason, I think they fall more into the Power Rangers style. Or other examples are like Ninjago, Voltron, Sailor Moon, all base people who have slight variations on the same theme. So other contributing things for why I think they fit this team mold is that they all tend to combine their powers into a single finishing move that is always effective, right? It's like they go and they just annihilate with the Kaita Makuta, or they all team up their Toa power and annihilate the Balrog, right? So they do it with the Rakshi. They all combine their powers and take out all the Rakshi. So stuff like that. I'm like, when they combine their powers, they end up winning everything, right? Because the themes of the story are to enforce like unity, right? And like playing together in a more meta sense. So, and they're all generally on the same side. Like there's no evil Toa, or there's no like Toa who goes off and is like not part of the team for a while, like Wolverine is for the X-Men. There's no one like that on the Toa. Like they're all there to fight Makuta and be good guys. There's no evil or moral ambiguity in the team's ranks.
Yeah.
So for how cool they are and how you'd hold them up as an example, what do you guys think? I think they adequately fulfill it, but I think they'd be pretty close to barely fulfills it. Because like they don't, if you hold them and Power Rangers up, I'm like, there's a lot of differences there. What do you think?
I think that Power Rangers are generally more uniform in their drive, whereas the Toa, they feel a little bit more, they don't feel as much like they hold the exact same things valuable. Like, and what I mean by this is like we've talked about kind of their personalities, but also just the way they, like what they pursue, what they want, and what they think they should use their power for, is, I guess, kind of what I will reiterate here, or I'll rephrase rather, is that the Toa are less of a team than Power Rangers are, in my opinion. The Power Rangers work together. Like, sure, there's inner drama, but for the most part, they have like the same goal. Like, and they have the same mindset of how to achieve that goal, generally speaking. Like, there are variations on Power Rangers teams, but the Toa Mata Nui are not that. They aren't as unified. They aren't as unified in thought either. Like, yes, they are unified in the ultimate goal of we have to defeat Makuta, but they all want to go about it a different way. And so, as far as a team goes, I don't think they fit the stereotype, or sorry, they don't fit the archetype nearly as well as like Power Rangers, if we're comparing them to Power Rangers or Ninjago, even for that matter. So
yeah, I'd agree. Like, the archetype example I'm most familiar with is on this list would be like Ninjago, and they're like, each member of the team, they seem to view each other as like family or whatever, and I can kind of tell you about like, oh, the relationship within the team. But like the Toa, I don't know, I guess they can kind of stand each other. You know, they don't.
Yeah, they definitely don't feel like a
team-like.
family,
Yeah.
even though they call themselves like brother and sister. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you're coworkers.
I think so if I had to choose a point where they fail in the archetype, it's where they don't always feel like they are on the same side. Like, ultimately they will rally to be on the same side, and so yes, their differences are reconcilable, but like almost begrudgingly, right? Like, there are times where particularly Kopaka or Tahu don't want to be part of the team, and even though they ultimately do function with the team, right, to defeat Makuta or defeat whatever enemy it is they are fighting at that time, they still don't want to be there, right? And so it's not really reconciled. They don't like fix the issue, because then they immediately go back to wanting to be separated from the team, right? And so it's like, I think that's where they fail in terms of the archetype. And there's no really, they don't try to address that in the story either, as like, they do kind of try to bring them in, but they don't ultimately succeed in doing that. So it's just, I think that's the point where I'd say this is where they fail. Not completely, as I said, but that is their weakest point.
So do we put them in barely or adequately?
I think they're somewhere in between. But if I had to choose, I would probably put them in adequately.
Yeah, I'd probably put them in low A.
Yeah.
Nowhere near Makuta.
Yeah. Not Makuta tier.
Okay, so next up we have the Turaga as wise and cryptic leaders. So examples of this would be like Sensei Wu, Gandalf, Obi-Wan / Yoda, Dumbledore. I think they kind of fail in a lot of aspects because they withhold crucial information so the plot will have mystery, even though it would be purely beneficial. Like telling them about the Borok, there's no downsides to that. It just helps you get ready for the Borok, right?
Yeah.
They vaguely warn about danger, like if something bad's coming. It's like, is it the Borok? It's like, yeah, we know that, but you don't know that yet. Stuff like that. They set unnecessary trials for the Toa. Like, you have to get this mask or whatever. Even with the Nuva mask, they're like, oh yeah, you have to learn how to do whatever to get all the different Nuva masks. It's like, they've already collected 30 masks. They've already beat Makuta. What else do they need to learn, guys? Just give them the power. You just gave Tahu the mask of time, but somehow they have to earn for the mask of X-ray vision Nuva? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. So it's almost like they don't want the Toa to win.
Yeah, they're interesting because, like the archetype examples you gave, you know, like Dumbledore withholds information a lot. And so, with some of it, you can be like, okay, maybe you should have said that earlier. But then he always has a reason that makes sense for himself.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, I can understand why you didn't tell Harry that right away. Like, yeah, I understand that. But yeah, the Turaga, it seems like they just want things to be more interesting. So they're like, oh, it would be a lot more fun if the Borok came out of nowhere and the Toa didn't know about this.
They're just drama farmers.
Yeah, it kind of seems like that.
Yeah. Yeah, like imagine just imagining like if Nuju was taking the place of like Obi-Wan in New Hope, like Luke finds him and he just whistles a bunch of bird stuff, doesn't give him the lightsaber, and then pushes him out to the sand people. He'd be like, "Get wrecked, Luke."
But yeah, they also like kind of along with that, like they're not really mentors in the sense of they don't seem to have much of a personal relationship with the Toa. Like they don't. I mean, it's not that they don't care about the Toa.
Wunua and Onua and Vakama and Tahu are the only ones who really have any personal relationship. Like Onua or Anua and Pohatu, like I don't even know if they interact like ever.
Yeah. It just seems like they don't. Yeah, not that they don't care about the Toa, but they don't really. By and large, they don't seem to have much of like a personal relationship with them.
My other main beef with them is they never do anything like super cool, right? Like when Yoda goes all out, you're like, oh man, that's so cool. Like when Sensei Wu goes all out, you're like, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. But the Turaga are just like, I'll poke stuff with my staff and say cryptic stuff. It's like they don't even use their elemental powers all that often when they have them, and they don't use their mass powers that often when they have them. When they're in trouble, they're just like, Tokua, save me, please. So it's like, I don't know what to do with you, bro. You don't have like any redeeming qualities. So the one thing I do give them is their heart is in the right place. Like they do want to like fight Makuta, and they do want the Toa to get better. They're just
bad at it.
Yeah, garbage at making them get better.
Them better.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think they fall into stereotype, because it's not a stereotype to just be like purely detrimental to your student. I would say they're in like close to stereotype. What do you say?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
They really need a category of their own, like not even just an in-between. Like they are entirely something else, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, what would the stereotype in that case be? Like I'm
just
like
kind of using stereotypes on where you don't utilize the fullness of an archetype for your character. You just utilize one small aspect, right? It's like if you have a fire type character, it's like their only personality trait is they're hot-headed. That's just a straight up stereotype. And if they have no other traits besides that,
so like just, in this case, maybe the stereotype would be like wise old man.
Yeah. Cryptic
like,
wise old man.
Quote.
Yeah, wise.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's
so
what I'm saying. It's
like,
hard to say
it's hard to say because they're not wise.
Mean.
That's why I'm saying. That's why they need like, because there is, in my mind, I'm not coming up with a general stereotype that you would use for a story that they fit into, because for like wise old man, which is probably what I normally choose for like all of these that we talked about, Sensei Wu, Gandalf,
The thing is, the story portrays them as mentors. It always mentions like the wisdom of the Turaga and how the Toa need to like seek out the wisdom of the Turaga. But it's like, they're not wise.
Yeah.
I don't know
they
what else
just have
to
a lot
tell.
of knowledge, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Knowledgeable old mentor.
Yeah.
That's the
mentor.
stereotype.
Yeah. So where do we?
I think they should go, what was just above stereotype?
Close to stereotype.
Close to stereotype. I think that's probably the best category for them.
Yeah. I was thinking of having it be annoying stereotype as a category, but I'm like, I don't know if they fit into that either.
Yeah, I don't think they're like...
Nuju's annoying.
They're a little annoying. I take that back, actually.
Yeah.
I really like the concept of Turaga. Like, that's really cool. Like, oh, they used to be a Toa, and then they like gave up their Toa powers for a cool like reason to fulfill something, But it's just like the Turaga on Mata Nui are kind of...
And that's why I'm so harsh with them, because I'm like, I can see the potential.
Yeah.
Right. But unlike Makuta, they don't fulfill it. Adequately.
Adequately fulfilled.
It is funny though, like how much more sense it makes why they're terrible Turaga once you see the Toa Metru. It's like, now I see. It all's clear.
Yep. So now we come on to Tahu as a leader and as a fire guy. So as a leader, this is like Optimus Prime, Red Ranger, Captain America territory, right? It's like you inspire and lead your group to go do X and Y, whatever. So I think he fits it okay for a few reasons. He's courageous. He can be inspiring, right? He's cool looking, which is a big factor.
No, that's true, yeah.
He has a very distinct personality, which a lot of leaders just tend to be leader blank slate. But Tahu is pretty defined as a personality. Some negatives are that he's not very effective as a leader. Like, he'll be like, yeah, guys, let's go get him. And Koppak will be like, I still don't care. about it at all, right? Lua will be like, I'm already gone. I'm not doing this. So, like, he's not good at rallying his team. They generally rally themselves. And he's also not good at utilizing his team. So he's not pointing out, like, golly, you go left, you know, whatever, you go right, and me, I'll go center. Like, he doesn't even do that level of coordination. He's just like, charge, follow me if you can. And it's like, if he used a bit of thinking, he would be a much better leader.
Yeah.
So, for that reason, I think he's
Yeah, like I guess I'm trying to think if I was on his team, I wouldn't want him to be my leader.
No.
Basically, like, yeah, it's like, oh, he could be maybe this, like in a fight, he could be this like rallying point sort of, but I wouldn't like trust his vision. I wouldn't trust that he like has any idea what's best for the team. And so he honestly, I don't know if this is like a perfect example, but he feels almost like a young, or he could be like a young Dalinar Kholin from like the Stormlight Archive. Like he could be like the Blackthorn, where it's like, oh, he's just this like unstoppable force on the battlefield, but he's not like a great leader yet. Like a great leader.
Yeah. The problem is he's also very stoppable. Like
Yeah,
he gets
that's
stopped
true.
constantly.
Yeah.
That's true.
He's Ron stoppable. What do you think, Samuel?
I think that why like he doesn't fit well into the leader category is because, like I said, he doesn't want to reconcile his differences with the team, and in fact he advocates for breaking up the team at multiple points.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would I want to follow you? You don't even want to be part of this team, right? And now you're like, well, now you should follow me because I'm your leader. It's like, dude, make up your mind. You are like so bipolar in this instance, right? And it's like, it's just very weird. So I feel like that right there is why he doesn't work well as a leader. Like, looking at all the other examples, they're all much, they all very much want to be the leader, and they're good at it, right? And it's like Tahu is not good at it, and he doesn't want to be either. So I don't know.
So Tahu is a leader. Where would we put him? Would we put him on like barely fulfilled? Because he does have some leaderish traits.
I would say barely. I would say he is more than just a stereotype, right? And even more than close to stereotype. So yeah, he would fit squarely into barely for me.
Whenever I think of Tahu, he feels like the kid who was put as like captain of the sports team because they were like good at that sport and liked it, but not because like, oh, they'd be a good captain. It's just like, oh, they're really good at kicking the soccer ball into the goal.
Yeah, like Golly, I could see being leader, but like she wouldn't want to deal with everyone, right? Onua, I think, would be a great leader, except that like he's just like I don't.
It's a little passive.
Yeah, he wouldn't be the one to rush in and inspire, right? Like Onua's steadfast, he's not inspiring. Tahu can be inspiring, right? When he lifts up his fire sword and is leading 10 billion Borok into battle, it's like, oh yeah, I could follow that guy if he wasn't such a jerkwad.
Yeah, so maybe he's the best option.
Yeah,
but
no, Pohatu is the leader. That's a thinking man's leader.
Maybe. I don't know if he is.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He's not a leader.
He's a good team player.
Yeah.
I feel like.
So I think Tahu's leader by default.
Yeah.
Essentially. Now, Tahu as a fire guy. So I think he's almost stereotypically fire because he's brash, impulsive, prone to anger, unsubtle, and relies on pure overwhelming force. So, and in a universe where you get punished for trying to just pure overwhelmingly force stuff because everyone has random one-off powers, he's not very effective. So he's not like a pyromancer or like a firebender where when they go all out, you're like, whoa, that's so cool. Like he tries to go out and just gets shut down. So it's like, he's not even fun to watch in an overwhelming offense sort of way. So I think he's pretty stereotypically a fire guy.
Yeah, I agree.
But when put with the leader, I think it does make a bit of an interesting contrast because like having a brash, unsubtle leader is a bit interesting because like Optimus is like very calculated, and a lot of other good leaders are very calculated. So
interesting, like as you're saying that, the first person that comes to my mind is Anakin in Clone Wars, right? Because he is a leader in that, But he definitely falls in my mind more into the fire guy stereotype, where he is brash, he is very
and later on he
controlled by his
falls into
emotions.
fire.
Yeah, exactly.
And is still a guy. So
And clearly he has fire resistance because he doesn't die from it.
good point. Charred human. They're like surfboard.
Yeah, Anakin works a little bit better as a leader because he actually like succeeds.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
succeeds,
no.
and he cares about the people under him, and he knows how to utilize
Yeah,
them.
and
right?
he is clever.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he's a better example of how to do a fire.
No, that I agree,
leader,
but
right?
it was just like as you're describing it, I'm like, this is who I would say can be both. Anakin is a leader and he is the fire guy, whereas Tahu doesn't work too well together. Like, it's cool that they put them together, but he's not a great example of it being done well.
Yeah, I think if he was one or the other, he'd be a much weaker character. But that's why I kind of wanted to do this, because like combining them makes them all a little more interesting than they would be if they just went whole hog on one.
Yeah.
So now, Golly as diplomat and water girl. So first off, diplomat, she's like wise, respectful, but not like deferential. She's not like, oh yeah, I'll do whatever. She's like, no, this is my idea. We should do this, right? But she's also very calm, and she has good ideas and solutions, right? So like when Kopaka and Tahu are fighting, it's like, okay, you guys need to like chill and like move away from each other for a little bit. Help me out here, Onua. Like all good ideas and stuff like that. So I think she's a pretty good diplomat. I think she fills it fine, but she doesn't have anything like truly unique or groundbreaking that would put her in supreme fulfillment.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, like she does all these things fine. I just have never once in my life thought like, what an interesting character Golly is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think she's adequate. Like,
Yeah.
she serves her function. I think it's very important mechanically to have her there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the team would just
Yeah.
But yeah, she's just not very interesting. Now, Golly as a water girl is, since water is a very like everybody knows what water is, so like so many stories have used water as kind of an archetype. There's a lot of different ways you could go with it. So I think Golly does have an interesting angle on that, where it's like she's calm, but she's not chill, right? Like she's purposely in control and able to regulate her emotions, but she's not going to let anything slide. Like she's not zoned out and like as a stoner, that's like chill, right? They're like, oh yeah, man, go for it. She's like, I have my principles, I'm sticking to it, I'm not going to violate it, but I'm not going to be overbearing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's a cool way to go with it. Also, she has like hidden depths of danger and power. Like I said, she's not afraid to just be like, tsunami, blam, destroy you.
Or
Right.
Nova Blast.
Yeah, Nova Blast.
That is so confusing. The
Yeah.
Nova Blast.
Nova Blast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we haven't gotten there yet. So we can...
No, we did.
Into Nuva?
It's covered in the Takutanuva.
Okay,
episode.
sweet. Yeah. So she's the only one of the Nuva to use a Nova Blast and wipes out an entire island, like just straight up. So I'm like, yeah, it's like the hidden depths of the ocean, right? Where it's like you go down too deep, it's like, uh-oh, I shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Like if you get Tahu mad, like he's not going to treat you any differently than if he's normally fighting you. He's all out aggressive, whatever. If you get Golly mad, it's like, maybe I should back off just a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially when she and Lua combine their powers a lot, and it makes like massive storms that like scorch miles of whatever. So it's like, yeah, she's not afraid to go crazy. So I think for that, it's kind of a cool angle. I don't think it's the most interesting angle you can do with water, but I think it's a cool pairing with Diplomat as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because the best diplomats are the ones with a lot of military force backing them. Speak softly, carry a big stick.
Yep.
So I think for Water Girl, adequately fulfilled.
I think for both, she falls into adequately.
Yeah, just a solid
Yeah.
character. Now, Kopaka as loner and ice guy. So, as a loner, he always wants to be alone, and boy, is he alone a lot. So, one thing that is cool is he's competent when alone, right? It's not just like, oh, I'm going off on my own, get wrecked, right? Like, he's can do things when he's on his own. I would understand why he's a loner, because he does work well alone. He is socially stilted, as most loners tend to be. And he does look really cool, which is another big factor in being a loner. If you are a lame-looking loner, that's just called a loser, right? the edge is what defines you as a loner. So he's also very abrasive, right? Which isn't necessarily a loner thing. They can be more standoffish, but he goes the more abrasive. I think you're kind of dumb looking if I do decide to speak with you, Root. So what do you guys think of him as a loner?
I think he's good. I think he's probably one of the best as far as like his general archetype goes. He in my mind is exactly, if I were to write a loner, I'd probably think of Kopaka first, to be honest.
One thing I don't like about him as a loner is generally loners contrast with the team leader, and it's like, okay, why is this guy leader quality? Why is this guy a loner, right? It generally pushes the leader to exemplify his leadership qualities and like become a better person. Whereas with Tahu, he doesn't go up and like strive for better ideals. He just bounces off and they go in different directions.
They're similar. Like instead of like you said, instead of having contrasting characteristics, they have almost identical in the sense that like even though Kopaka is like not quite as brash, he is abrasive, and so is Tahu.
Mm-hmm.
They both
and they're both very headstrong.
Yeah,
as well.
That's
like,
what I was gonna say. They both like to pick a fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like you're saying that the seeing Kopaka as a loner doesn't make Tahu want to be a better leader, and so it's just it's weird.
Yeah. What do you think, Clay?
I agree, but I think that's all on Tahu. Kopaka tried to push him to be better. No, I'm just kidding.
Stop beating poor little Kopaka. Nuju's like, get him. So, where would we put him on the list? Adequately fulfilled? Supremely fulfilled even? Is he up there with the likes of Batman?
I would almost put him as supremely fulfilled because I think, well, for one, he does the loner very well, but then it also works so well with the ice guy.
Yeah, ice guy and loner combo.
Yeah,
is like
putting that together, I feel like you can't beat that.
Yeah, I would say that he has to go into supremely.
Supremely. Okay, our first S tier, dang, and it goes to Kopaka, which is fair.
That's fair.
Kopaka's cool. What else can you say about the ice guy? But speaking of the ice guy, now we move on to the ice guy archetype. So he's cold, calculating, focused, and reserved.
I feel like this one needs no explanation. It's S tier as well for him because it's like he is the ice guy. Just that's it.
Yeah, when you think of an ice Toa, you think of Kopaka.
Yeah.
Right. Like you could think of Matoro, but not so much as an ice Toa, more so as an isolated character.
Yeah, like he's important and he's a good... Matoro is important and a good character.
But he could have been any element.
But he could have been any element. Correct. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think he's definitive ice guy, just like everything you'd want and more. So, 2 S tiers for Kopaka.
Ooh, he deserves it.
Yeah.
Bravo, Kopaka.
Just remember this when we get to Onua, okay? Because he better be getting some S tiers. 3 S tiers for Onua, I say. But before we get to Onua, we'll move on to Liwa. So, he's the comic relief and air guy. So as comic relief, he makes jokes and quips. He's very lighthearted and unstrategic, and he never stops trying to be funny until after the Borak invasion when he tries to get a little more serious and he's like, okay, I gotta lock in just a little bit. So I think he works fine as a comic relief because he does have some generally good quips and they're not usually super annoying. Tree speak is annoying, but not the quips themselves. And his lightheartedness does bring a certain, it lightens the tone a lot of the team meetings, right? Because you have all the other people arguing, and then Pohatu generally doesn't step in during team meetings. So Lou is just there to be like, hey guys, how's it going? Woohoo! Stuff. So I think it fits the tone of the story well. And I think it really comes into his own when he does try to be more serious, because he's like, okay, he's realized his mistakes and he grows, but he's still comic relief kind of archetype.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's cool. What do you guys think?
I guess I need to just read or just expose myself to more Lua quips because I can't really, I know he's supposed to be the comic relief, but I can never think of a time I've been like, oh, he's so
Yeah, there's one time when he gets Tahu to swing on vines through Liwahi, and he's just like ribbing him the whole time.
Okay. So yeah, like I'm not saying he's not. I just feel like I haven't like experienced that enough to have much of an opinion on.
Or like when
Lewa.
Golly like tries to give him a sin, he'll be like, "Oh, maybe in your waterlogged head it makes sense to like dive into puddles, but not for me. No, I'm high swinging Lua. I'm not doing that."
Got him.
Yeah. So it's more like lighthearted. They're not like
Yeah.
true jokes most of the time. Just like comments.
Yeah. I would agree with Clay that I don't have enough familiarity with it to be able to comment. But
Aren't you the host of a Bionicle podcast? I'm just joking.
come on, everybody knows I'm the host who knows nothing
Yeah.
about Bionicle
Yeah.
specifically.
Okay, so now Lua, where would we put him as comic relief? I would say adequately fulfilled. I think the getting more serious really bumps him up in my estimation, because I like when comic relief has like a hard edge they can swap to.
Is there so I was trying to think of another character in another franchise that would be comparable to Lua or Lewa.
Mhm.
Do you have one off the top of your
Just
head?
like any comic. I was thinking like Jay from Ninjago would be a close one, right? Where he's the quippy, lighthearted one.
Jay is better than Lewa.
You could think of like Miko from Transformers Prime.
Okay.
What examples do you know of stuff?
Sokka.
You could, Sokka, Merry and Pippin,
Oh yeah.
kind of that style, where it's like they're not useless, but they're definitely the more jovial of the crew.
Yeah.
So compared to those people, I think he's adequately stacks up.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Now
Fair
as
enough.
the air guy, he is flighty, nimble, quick to speak and act, and enjoys the air, not the ground or water. Stereotypical air guy, I think.
Interestingly, I feel like Lua is a better example of an air character, air guy, than like Aang is.
I was funny because I was going to put Aang as an air guy, then I'm like, he's not really an air guy
Yeah.
because the monks have such a strict code, which you don't generally associate with air.
Yeah.
But then they also do it under the guise of this is what true freedom is, right? Not having like earthly desires, being in tune with the spirit world
Yeah.
and so on. Whereas Lua is not disciplined. He's just very go with the flow or go with the breeze, I suppose.
Yeah. You could also argue that maybe Aang is a little bit different as far as an air guy because he's not meant to be solely an air guy.
Yeah.
Right.
And he obviously does go through that. Like, this isn't an Avatar analysis,
Yeah,
by the way,
I
guys.
don't. I'm just trying to liken it to something that I know. Yeah.
But I think both at the core want like freedom, right? That's what the airbenders want. That's what Lua wants. It's just how they express them in different ways. And I think they're both valid routes to take. So that's why I'd say Lua he's an adequate air guy.
Yeah.
Like, I want my air guy to fly and like flying.
Yeah.
So he flies, likes flying. He's quick, nimble. That's what I want my air guys to be like. Which Aang is also that. So
Yeah.
I think he fits fine. Not outstanding. But now we get to Onua. Ooh, as the strong guy and as the earth guy. So strong guy. This is like Toph or who's the big guy in Voltron? Hunk. Any
Clever naming there.
yeah, large character, Gimli style characters, right? Not Ghibli, Gimli, like from Lord of the Rings, or Cole maybe from Ninjago. So, as a strong guy, he's really, really strong. Like wearing the Pakari Nuva, like anything you can lift, he lifts it, right? People are always comparing, like when they find the illusion wall in the Barraki cave and they're trying to break through it. What tips Golly off is like, this must be illusion because Onua can't break through it. It's like, if it's physical, he'd be able to punch through it, right?
That's pretty funny.
And so people are like, man, this is so heavy, not even Onua Nuva could lift it. Like multiple books and say that. I'm like, oh yeah, he's really strong, guys. I get the picture. So he uses strength to solve a lot of problems. Like sometimes he'll be like, I'm just gonna throw a boulder at you, right? And then the boulder ends up working, takes out a Borak call. Right? Or he's like, I need to dig a tunnel really fast. Digs a tunnel super fast with his strength. And he's also super dependable, which is what the big guy is supposed to be, right? It's like when your back's to the wall, you want him behind you to like be the anchor. And so when he goes down, everyone's like, this is real bad news. Like, slight spoilers for the Barraki. Like, when they take down Onua, that's when the turning point narratively is like, they're toast, right? Because they take out Lua first. It's like, oh, you know, it's Lua, right? They take out Onua. It's like, guys, we need to get out of here fast. That's when Pohatu starts using his mask of speed and be like, we gotta move. And then Bruto's like, so I think he is a great strong guy. I think he supremely fulfills the archetype.
That's how you really feel, Thomas.
What do you guys think? I'm also a bit biased because he's my favorite character, but maybe I'm biased because he's written so well.
I actually agree with you on this one. I cannot think of a strong guy character that I like that doesn't have the exact traits of Onua. Like, he is just really, really good as far as what you would expect from the like, even to the extent of being like, we get more into this in the Earth guy, but even as the strong guy, a lot of times especially in more modern narratives, the strong guy is also much more empathetic, and Onua really does embody that
because he's the strong guy, not the dumb guy, right?
Yeah,
like Ingvar from Brother Band. If you guys have ever read that, he's like he's like 7 feet tall, right? And he's nearsighted, so everyone thinks he's dumb. But like, you give him math equations, he'll solve them, right? Because he's always saying is like, I'm big, not dumb. And I think Onua fits that really well because like, he's super strong, but he's also very methodical and precise and just intelligent.
I think of like Armstrong in Full Metal Alchemist as well, where it's like he's less of the brain side of it, but he's also still not dumb. But he is also very empathetic and wants to, like, he isn't hard as a character. He's hard in his abilities, but not like, he doesn't feel like he's closed off.
Like out of combat, if you need someone to go talk to, you talk to Armstrong or you talk to Onua or whatever, right? Because it's like, they're the emotional rock and the physical rock.
Yeah.
So I think he supremely fulfills it.
I also would agree.
I won't argue with that.
Heck yeah,
I
baby.
would like to say, though, as you were saying, it's like, he's so strong. He's so strong. I'm like, you know the age-old question, could God make a rock so big he couldn't lift it, or so heavy he couldn't lift it? It's like, no, the real question is, could God make a rock so heavy Onua couldn't lift it?
Heretical. The Catholic Church is not going to like this one.
Nope.
The Rock is like a bunch of atheist
Why don't you start a
mercenaries.
crusade over it?
So now we move on to Onua as the Earth guy. So as Earth, he's quiet, introspective. He's very down to earth, personality-wise and emotionally. He's patient, and he's strong, and he loves the dirt. I think he supremely fulfills the dirt guy.
Just that sentence.
Sorry, Earth guy. Because, like, think of Toph, right? Like, she's always examining, patient, waiting for the time to strike, seismic sense, very in tune with the Earth. There's multiple parts where Onua is like, yep, I can tell where these rocks go because, like, a different type of rock. Or I can destroy all these boulders because, like Pohatu does, where it's like, I know the specific spot I need to kick out. Right. Oh, so I think that's cool.
Interestingly, like, Toph, though, is more hot-headed in a lot of instances than Onua is. And I was also thinking
I don't think Onua makes everyone look hot-headed in comparison.
Well, true, but I'm just saying, like, I was also thinking of Cole in Ninjago. He's also has more traits similar to Toph, I think, in that regard. He is not, like, I wouldn't say he's a quintessential Earth guy, but I'm just comparing and thinking, like, it's interesting because of the Earth ones I'm thinking of, they aren't generally quiet or not necessarily not introspective, but they aren't always patient either. So, but I'm not saying that those
Toph is patient, right?
Toph is patient,
and or maybe like Boomy, right? Where it's like it's all about that neutral Jing, right? Waiting for the exact moment to strike.
Yeah,
which Toph does, and that's how they find her.
I guess that's true. I just think that she has moments where she definitely does not fall into that patient category. But as far as a like in attunement to her abilities, yes, she is patient. I I don't think she's patient necessarily all the time as a character.
Yeah. But I would say that impatience kind of goes against your natural intuition for Earth affiliated people, right? Like it's an intentional breakaway.
Yeah, no, that's why I was saying I'm not. That's why I was gonna say Toph and Cole in my mind aren't quintessential Earth examples.
I'd say they were like adequates.
Yeah, and so I'm not sad or mad that Onua doesn't fall into that category. I'm just trying to think of one who I would consider quintessential that I could then compare Onua to, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so I like the qualities of Onua, and I think that they work well for what I might consider an Earth Guy archetype to be. However, I cannot at the moment think of someone that shares these qualities that I would say, yes, that is my reference point for the perfect Earth Guy. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm looking up Earth affiliated characters. Geodude from Pokemon.
Oh, yeah, of course. How could I have forgotten him? Do Pokemon actually have genders?
Yeah.
Is Geodude actually a dude?
No. It can be a dude or a girl.
Okay, so they have
Just the
genders,
name of
but
the
they're not
species.
definitive, or they're not defined based off of the species, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know really. Can you think of any other Clay? Earth
No, not really.
guys?
I was trying to think of like, would there be some connection to like mythology and like where like there would be the earth god or goddess and like different pantheons, but that just all of those seem very far. Like
I was gonna look up because we had mentioned Gaia in the past, and so I was just trying to look up like her traits and see kind of how she stacks up against Onua, because I don't remember that much about
Onua
her.
would
I know.
annihilate Gaia.
Well, no, I don't mean like
It's
that.
like you're the Earth.
Yeah, but
Samuel's looking up too. We want to move on to Pohatu, what
Sure.
I have nothing for. So, we move on to our final, which is Pohatu. And I have no archetypes for Pohatu that I could pin on him, because it's weird because he is a flawless character, essentially, but the story doesn't focus on his flawlessness, so it's hard to tell what even they were going for, right? And it's also not helped by stone not being substantially different from Earth in any other story that's ever been created. So it's like there's no stone guy archetype to go off of, right?
yeah, I mean you could do kind of like the unyielding, almost like an ice guy. I feel like if I had to make a stone archetype, which is like hard.
Yeah, but you'd have to make a stone archetype because no one does, because they just used Earth as that archetype, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
So that's my beef with it. And even if you do go off of the stone archetype, it's like a hard, unyielding, whatever. He doesn't fit that at all. Like he's the speediest member of the team, right? He's super easy going, so he's not even emotionally hard. And it's just like, okay. And he's not slow to move or like patient or anything.
Yeah.
Like he's not impatient or whatever. Like he's just perfectly balanced in all aspects. So it's like you can't define him because he's just the good parts of everything, is how I would say it.
Yeah, I don't see how he falls into the stone archetype if there is one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like I was trying to figure out, I'm like, what other stone characters were there differentiated from Earth? And everything I looked up was like Bionicle. I'm like, yeah, I know it's in Bionicle. That's why I'm asking.
So I guess that makes him supremely fulfilled because he is the only one of his kind. He is the standard.
On Maslow's hierarchy of needs, he is the top. He's he's completely self-fulfilled.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. So instead of a tier list, it's a tier triangle with Pohatu at the top and Nuju at the bottom.
Can he be out of the triangle? He's so bad. He's just
he's the eye above the triangle in the Illuminati.
He's the poor Egyptian worker that the pyramid fell on.
What?
because he said it was a pyramid, a tier pyramid instead of a tier list.
I don't want Nuju to be at the top. I want to be crushed under the pyramid.
Oh,
That's what he's
okay.
saying.
He can be in the tombs beneath the pyramid.
To go back to Gaia really quickly, like there was no one has just a like summary of her traits besides the AI overview, because
we can
it's
go off
pulling,
like Percy Jackson, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I guess that's true. But basically, a lot of websites did say it was like, okay, she's powerful, nurturing, and like that's essentially it. And like, so yeah, Onua does kind of fall into those categories, but that's very broad.
If I were to go up, if like civilization gets destroyed, right? And like, we need to categorize the Earth and give it some personality and traits. And you had the choice between Gaia and Onua. Who would you give them? I would give them Onua. Because then they would judge.
You would give them Onua.
Yeah, because then they would judge everything from Onua and be like, nothing holds up to this standard. He's just the perfect encapsulation of Earth and big guy. So I think he supremely fulfills it because no one else has defined it as well as Onua.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah, fair enough.
Sweet. Another supreme fulfillment. Weird having Onua and Kopaka in the same tier. We need something below Pohatu and above Kopaka for Onua to sit in. That's a joke. They can be in the same tier.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe I shouldn't say this.
Oh, you're going to put Onua lower because of Kopaka?
Thomas might get mad.
Say it.
I'm too scared.
Hot take.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, I feel like I agree that both Kopaka and Onua should be S tiers in both of their categories.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like Kopaka does it a little bit better. Like, I feel like he maybe it's just because I think Loner and Ice Sky is more defined. Wrong! But yeah, like I think there's a little bit more variety in Strong Guy and Earth Guy, to where I don't instantly think Onua for that. I think he does it very well, and I think it's like, oh, he's a good option for that. You know, if you want to think about Strong Guy, Earth Guy. But like Loner and Ice Guy, there's not really much wiggle room, and I feel like Kopaka just fits it perfectly.
I think it's, if I had to summarize what you're saying, is that it's like Kopaka, we have examples of loners and ice guys, and as we've just discussed, there is no clear example that we can directly compare Onua to, and so we know how well Kopaka works stacked up against people who are other examples of a loner ice guy, right? And so he works really well in comparison to examples that we have, whereas Onua is like, he works really well as a character, but we don't have anything to directly compare him to, and so it's like Kopaka is just a little bit better because we have so many references.
Well, we can compare him to Pohatu, the greatest of all people.
I'm like Nuju, and Samuel's like Matoro, just translating what I say, deciphering.
Wait, so
I don't know, was that right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's pretty much what I was saying.
Translate his ranking then. Is it S or A? Or P for Pohatu?
Well, he said they were both S. He
Yeah,
just
I
said
know.
that Kopaka.
But who's
Kopaka's high
and who's
S.
the highest S?
Just like Makuta is high A, Kopaka's high S, and Onua's S.
Yeah.
I'm putting him high S tier. If I'm the one who has to put the image of the tier list, I decide where they go.
That's fair. That's fair.
No, it's fine.
But Pohatu, I don't even know where he goes on this thing.
Yeah, what do you think
Well,
about
like
Pohatu?
I said, I think he's S tier because he is the best. There are no other examples, so he must be the best one of his.
He's
class.
an example. I'd be fine being the definitive version because I love him. But like,
Yeah.
there's nothing else in the category.
I just don't feel like that works well with Stone. I feel like there's better options that you could do.
Yeah, true. As a stone guy, I don't think he's great. As whatever personality archetype he'd fall into,
Yeah.
I think he's great.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah, because I don't know what personality archetype he falls into either. He's not a diplomat.
Yeah.
He's not the strong guy. He's like very strong, but he's not like Onua level strong, right?
Yeah, he's kind of just like the team player, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Yeah, right? Like I couldn't think of another example. Maybe like Yellow Rangers in Power Rangers when there's 5 of them, because they like have the yellow and the pink, and the yellow one is also just kind of there. But Pohatu stands out, whereas Yellow Rangers tend to blend in. So I don't even think he fits that category. I don't know. Maybe too much Power Rangers
He's
in
in
this
a
video.
league of his own.
I feel like if
Colby League of his own.
Colby League of his own. I feel like if I had to like try to fit him into a tier, I just put him in like adequately filled.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I wouldn't feel right putting him in supreme fulfillment.
Yeah.
It's just like
I
what?
could see him barely fulfilled depending on what archetype
Yeah.
you shoot for.
Yeah, I don't even
right?
know.
I suppose
Pick an
that's
archetype,
fair.
see how many things Pohatu fulfills of it. So, anyway, with that all rated, we are at the end of the episode.
Ooh.
So, any closing thoughts? Was this interesting? Was this boring? Did it help you think about Bionicle in a different way? Or are you just like, bro, I know he's goated. Stop talking.
Please, someone comment that.
No, I thought it was fun. It is like, it's funny to think about that this is like a Lego toy line. And
That-
we're like,
yeah, that we're
putting them into
dissecting
archetypes.
and analyzing. Yeah.
yeah, we're like, oh man.
If it's
he
good
doesn't
enough for
fit this
Greg, it's good
archetype.
enough for me.
Yeah. No, but this was fun.
But
Yeah.
see, that's part of my goal. I want Bionicle to be known at least as well as Ninjago, right?
Oh, that's tricky.
Yeah, exactly. I want people to, when they think of Power Ranger Styles team, I want them to think of the Toa as one of the options. Maybe even more known than Power
Ooh.
Rangers. Yeah. Heck, let's get up to Star Wars levels of known.
You want when people to say superhero, not think Marvel, DC, think Bionicle.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want 40 live-action Bionicle movies now.
Whoa.
So, like, here's $1 per movie. It's just Greg in a funny costume. Be like, I am Pohatu.
Why does he have an accent?
I don't know.
No, I thought it was good overall, though. I think it's fun to look back at each section of the story and kind of see it from the broad overview. So, like, that part was fun. And doing the archetypes is fun, too, after we get to spend all of this time with the characters. So, I think it's a neat thing to do.
Yeah. Well, with that, thank you once again to our guest, whatever your name that concocted was. Newthan Jathan Clayton, I think it was.
You know, I'm honestly not sure, but thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, and be sure to look out for next week's episode, which will all be about Mata Nui, the island, which is also a city.
Yeah.
The city of legends, Mata Nui. Yeah, nailed it. This brings us to the end of today's podcast. If you enjoyed the discussion, please follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If you like to watch instead of listen, you can also find us on YouTube. The Barraki Talk Show is only made possible thanks to viewers like you. Thank you.